Diddy's ex wrapped up her testimony today after 4 grueling days on the stand.
She might have a lawsuit, too.
Singer Dawn Richard testifies that Sean Diddy Combs hit Cassie Ventura with a skillet full of eggs.
You got to go back to the drugs and the alcohol, man. The drugs and the alcohol, man. And those things will make you do strange things.
What does it take to silence a courtroom? Dawn Richard's testimony about Cassie's alleged abuse by Diddy left everyone speechless. Get ready for the bombshell revelations that pulled the curtain back on an unimaginable reality.
Diddy's ex wrapped up her testimony today after 4 grueling days on the stand. The defense hit her hard during cross-examination, asking her about a stint in rehab for PTSD, a rape allegation, and asking her to read explicit text messages from over the past 15 years.
Richard accused Combs of sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and a hostile work environment by being exposed to sex trafficking and sex acts. She also alleged that she was a victim of false imprisonment. In her suit, Richard stated she was seeking compensatory and punitive damages, as well as other costs for post-traumatic stress, anxiety, and emotional suffering, and financial losses she suffered as a result of Combs' alleged behavior. Combs has denied her allegations. His lawyer told E! News in September, Mr. Combs is shocked and disappointed by this lawsuit. Richard's testimony in Combs' ongoing trial comes 8 months after she accused the rapper in a lawsuit of subjecting her to years of inhumane working conditions, which included groping, assault, and false imprisonment. The lawsuit, filed in September, obtained by E! News, stated, Mr. Combs frequently held meetings with Ms. Richard wearing only his underwear, despite Ms. Richard's protests and repeated requests for him to put on clothing. In her filing, the 41-year-old also alleged that Combs ordered her to strip down to her underwear, made demeaning remarks about her body, and entered her dressing room unannounced while she was unclothed, and touched her without her permission under the guise of showing the stylist what to do.
Dawn Richard took the stand and shared what she witnessed during Cassie's time with Diddy. She spoke about emotional control, fear, and the way Cassie was constantly monitored, rarely able to speak or move freely. The moment that silenced the room came when she said, "We all saw it. We just didn't say anything. It wasn't sensational. It was calm, credible, and deeply unsettling. This case has entered a new phase. The silence around it is breaking, and it's no longer just testimony. It's a reckoning."
If she witnessed, and she's saying that she witnessed a gangbang, which actually we know it as called a train. And she worked on the album, The Train to Paris. And like I heard one of the YouTube, it could be Tistel, say that we didn't know what the train to Paris meant. But now we know that the train to Paris was a train in Scotland. It wasn't a train in Paris. It was a train in Scotland. Every time I have a witness doing something is when 2 guys and 2 girls will go in the room. And that was just regular. And however they did it, whatever they did, that was their business. But he gotten bold enough, whereas that he would do that in front of Dawn and other people at a poolside in Scotland. You sure it was Scotland, man?
Kennedy Kane alum Dawn Richard, who began working with Sean Diddy Combs while competing on his show Making the Band in 2004, took the stand after Cassie wrapped her testimony May 16th. Richard joined Combs' group Diddy Dirty Money after Danity Kane disbanded. While on the stand, she told jurors that she saw Combs hit Ventura with a skillet full of eggs at his Los Angeles home in 2009. Richard testified per NBC News. He came downstairs asking where his phone was, and he threw her to the ground. He attempted to kick her. She fell to the ground and went into the fetal position, literally trying to hide her head. In addition to striking Ventura with the skillet, Richard said Combs put his arm around the singer's neck and took her upstairs before she heard glass breaking. Richard added, "I was scared for her. I was scared to do anything."
Dawn Richard's testimony had a powerful effect on the courtroom. As a former member of Danity Kane, managed by Diddy, she had a unique and personal perspective on the environment around him. Her close connection to both Diddy and Cassie gave her account added weight. Dawn described witnessing tense moments that created a stressful atmosphere, particularly for Cassie, who appeared overwhelmed and powerless during these times. She spoke from firsthand experience, sharing incidents that revealed the emotional strain Cassie endured behind the scenes. One moment stood out. Dawn recalled a disagreement where Diddy's raised voice visibly shook Cassie, underscoring the pressure she faced daily. Her testimony was filled with emotion, reflecting years of observation and concern. Observers noted that first-hand witness accounts like Dawn's carry significant weight with juries, and Diddy's tense reaction showed he was unsettled by her words. Her testimony not only challenged his public image, but also strengthened Cassie's case. Dawn summed up Cassie's struggle as a daily fight to cope and find strength amid ongoing stress and isolation. This deeply resonated with those in the courtroom and marked a turning point in the trial. As the first week ended, Dawn's words lingered, signaling a shift in the case. With more witnesses expected, the trial is far from over, but her testimony has already set a serious tone for what's to come.
Things that she's going to have to bring up into the lawsuit, that Diddy stopped the way that she was working and how she could work by the fact that he would change, like you just said. What she would do, bro, he would turn off her mic and don't let her sing songs or don't let her do certain things, a part of the band, when he do her sexual advancements. I don't know what to say about that, brother. All I can say is that, you know, all of it sounds like using his power. He's using his power to get at people that works for him. And when you do that, when they bring you to court, 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose if they can prove it.
One text message, Cassie writes, "I'm lost without you."
We know now that she called herself Cece for Cassie Combs. We know now that she wanted to have a child with him.
Jurors also heard an audio recording where Cassie could be heard threatening to kill a Diddy associate who had video of one of her freak-offs with Diddy.
The jurors were shocked. I saw the eyebrows raised.
Cassie was asked about receiving a FaceTime from her now husband while she was having sex with Diddy.
I think they're trying to use what they can, again, to discredit her as a witness.
Dawn Richards' testimony raised questions about a troubling event linked to an album titled The Train of Paris, which, contrary to its name, referred to something that happened in Scotland. Dawn, who worked closely with Diddy and others, described unusual group gatherings she witnessed during that time. On May 16th, after Cassie's testimony, Dawn Richard, a former member of Danity Kane and later part of Diddy's group Diddy Dirty Money, shared a disturbing incident from 2009 at Diddy's Los Angeles home. She recounted seeing Diddy act aggressively toward Cassie, who fell while trying to protect herself. Dawn said she felt scared and unsure how to intervene. The courtroom atmosphere shifted again when an audio recording featuring Cassie was introduced. In the tape, Cassie speaks emotionally to a Diddy associate, revealing the deep stress and strain in their relationship. Experts noted her voice showed years of frustration and resolve rather than anger alone, reflecting ongoing hardship and emotional exhaustion. Legal analysts explained that such reactions are common in relationships marked by long-term emotional pressure. The recording gave the jury insight into Cassie's struggle to cope with her circumstances, showing a fight-or-flight response to prolonged stress. While the tape isn't conclusive proof by itself, combined with Dawn's testimony and other evidence, it painted a clearer picture of a difficult and painful cycle. The defense is expected to challenge Cassie's credibility by highlighting her emotional reactions and personal history, a common tactic in high-profile cases. However, the recording challenges the simple narrative of Cassie as just Diddy's partner by revealing her ongoing fight for control in a relationship where she often felt powerless. As the trial continues, the jury faces a complex story of power, emotional hardship, and personal struggle. How the defense responds and what new evidence emerges could be decisive. And everyone in the courtroom is watching closely.
Unfortunately, we're all going to take a disgusting trip to his seedy, awful world. You know, the man has no class. He has no kindness in his dark, dark heart. And he's depraved. That's my opinion. This is a depraved, disgusting individual.
The facts are the facts, the texts are the texts, and I think that the evidence will be clear.
That Ventura had a choice and that she chose to participate in those sexual encounters.
Where she is entertaining other people in the bedroom. He enjoyed having the freak-offs.
She's being asked specifically about the drug use.
She is clearly excited about freak-off.
The defense team's attempt to focus on Cassie's past initially seemed strategic, but it ended up adding unexpected depth to the case by bringing attention to Cassie's time in rehab, her struggles with PTSD, and a previous allegation from her earlier life. The defense aimed to question her credibility. Their goal was to portray her as emotionally unstable and unreliable, hoping this would weaken her testimony in the eyes of the jury. However, this approach had unintended effects. Instead of undermining Cassie, it revealed a woman coping with significant trauma and challenges. Legal experts following the trial noted that this tactic unintentionally highlighted her vulnerability. By discussing her struggles, the defense may have actually strengthened the argument that Cassie was subjected to emotional control during her relationship with Diddy. Rather than discrediting her, Cassie's past experiences helped illustrate how someone like Diddy might have taken advantage of her vulnerabilities to maintain control. A key point in the trial was the introduction of personal text messages between Cassie and Diddy, including one where Cassie wrote, "I'm lost without you." The defense used these messages to suggest she was emotionally dependent and that their relationship was consensual and mutual. Yet, experts emphasize that trauma survivors often show attachment to those who hurt them, not because their pain didn't exist, but because manipulation can make them feel like they have no other choice. The court heard these messages alongside defense claims that Cassie's emotional state made her testimony less reliable. Legal insiders say this strategy often targets both a person's account and their overall character. Abuse survivors frequently face such scrutiny, especially when high-profile individuals are involved. It's a known tactic to highlight inconsistencies and personal struggles to create doubt in the minds of the public and jury. In Cassie's case, though, this approach may have backfired. Instead of weakening her story, it added complexity and depth to the narrative of someone who endured years of control and manipulation. By forcing Cassie to revisit difficult moments from her past, the defense might have unintentionally drawn more attention to Diddy's potential influence over her, especially considering the significant power imbalance in their relationship. Many observers noted how the revelations about Cassie's mental health and history actually made her allegations more credible. Her struggles with PTSD and rehab were seen not as flaws, but as understandable consequences of living through a challenging and unhealthy relationship. Rather than casting doubt, this line of defense invited more questions about how much Cassie's emotional pain stemmed from her time with Diddy. While the defense may have hoped to distract from earlier evidence, they instead offered a more nuanced view of Cassie's experience, highlighting how trapped she may have felt emotionally, mentally, and even physically. This unexpected shift is already shaping the jury's perspective. The case now goes beyond isolated texts or events. It's about patterns of behavior, power differences, and the lasting impact on those involved. With more witnesses, including former associates of Danny Kane and people close to Diddy, the story is growing more complex. Whether intended or not, the defense's efforts to challenge Cassie have only emphasized the seriousness of her claims. As the trial moves forward, testimonies from those who knew Cassie and Diddy are expected to reveal even more about this complicated and important case. Aubrey O'Day, another former member of Danity Kane, is now stepping forward to share her experiences under Diddy's management. Her upcoming testimony could add important details to this already intense trial. Alongside Aubrey, several former employees close to Diddy's personal and professional life are preparing to testify, each adding new layers to the story. Don Richards' earlier testimony shook the courtroom by challenging Diddy's public image and supporting Cassie's claims. Aubrey's perspective, gained from working closely with Diddy during Danity Kane's peak, may further confirm patterns of control and difficult behavior over time. Multiple witnesses are key in building a consistent narrative. Aubrey has spoken before about the challenges of working with Diddy, and if she backs Cassie and Don's accounts, it strengthens the case considerably. Legal experts say these combined testimonies form a chain that's harder to dismiss as isolated incidents. Former employees' testimonies could reveal more about private moments and workplace dynamics, offering insights that fill gaps in the case. Their decision to speak now adds weight and raises questions about what they know. As the trial unfolds, Diddy's reactions have been closely watched. Though he initially appeared calm, his composure has visibly faltered during emotional testimonies and the introduction of key evidence like texts and audio recordings. These moments exposed cracks in his carefully maintained public image. The courtroom tension rose further after Don Richards' testimony, with Diddy's body language showing discomfort and defensiveness. For someone known for projecting power, this loss of control was striking and caught the jury's attention. This trial is more than courtroom drama. It's impacting how the public sees Diddy's legacy. His charisma and commanding presence, once strengths, now seem to work against him as signs of frustration and vulnerability emerge. The outcome remains uncertain with more witnesses, including Aubrey and former employees, yet to testify. The pressure on Diddy will only grow as more evidence and accounts surface. This case goes beyond a celebrity scandal. It highlights the realities of relationships marked by power and control. Testimonies like Don Richards bring to light the emotional struggles hidden beneath the surface. Cassie's strength in facing tough cross-examination underscores the courage of those who speak out despite scrutiny. As the trial continues, stay informed and remember the importance of hearing these stories. The next phase could change everything we think we know. Stay tuned.